What's going on, friends, family, my people? I got a real quick one for you today. This is some food for thought. Check this out. These are two of the most suppressed scientific experiments, and you know why they're so suppressed? It's because you can perform these yourself. And if you're wondering why this conversation is so important to have right now, all you got to do is go to the mainstream websites or go on the mainstream news, and all you hear them talking about right now is the Alien Atlas mothership, right? You can't even turn around without seeing another story about this alien mothership, right? But let me ask you a question. If you base all your beliefs on what the mainstream scientists believe, what do you think now, right? Are you going to continually believe these people blindly? They say that there's an alien mothership half the size of the sun hurling through space right now on its way to Earth right now. So if you are part of an organization that gets all your beliefs off of what the mainstream scientists are telling you, this is another thing that they telling you. So at this point, you got to make a decision. You going to believe everything they say blindly, or you going to start verifying some of these claims? These mainstream scientists are proven Luciferian Jesuit devil worshippers. And by the way, that includes Copernicus. Copernicus worked for the Catholic Church. He was called a priest. He made up the theory that the sun was in the center of the universe and everything went around the sun. Well, why would the sun hold such a special position? It couldn't be because they worshiped the sun, right? Copernicus was so embarrassed about the claims that he made that he wanted his book released after he died because he didn't want to have to stand and defend what he was talking about. Spoiler alert, there is no outside life coming to Earth. We have a firmament, okay? The Bible calls it rakia, or a firmament. Means the same thing. We are encapsulated, family. There is no extraterrestrial life coming from deep space, coming to Earth. There is no asteroids coming, hitting, making craters. Look into these claims. The Bible clearly says that this structure is solid. It is physical, right? It even says it's physical and solid like a cast metal mirror. Okay? They even give it more descriptors. It says it's reflective like glass. Okay, if you don't believe in the Bible, don't worry about it. I got you. I'm going to still prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that you can do scientific experiments to prove to yourself that this rakia, this firmament, is actually there. Here's another suppressed proof that we actually have a firmament above the earth, right? That encapsulates us, right? I mean, obviously, that's where we get our air pressure from. So here's a little suppressed history, right? In 1958, Soviet scientists actually did experiments on the firmament trying to determine how bright the firmament was throughout the day. How much of it can you actually see, right? This is their government. 4 years later, in 1962, the U.S. government went to Antarctica under the Operation High Jump and Operation Dominic. And if you look into it, it's actually interesting why the U.S. government chose these specific names. Because if you look at the declassified files on this, it breaks down to the operation where they tried to jump out of the fishbowl of the Lord. But there's no getting out of the firmament. There's no way in, there's no way out, right? That's what they learned. And immediately they came up with the Antarctic Treaty. They didn't want nobody else going over there. And if you look, even right now, they said that they're trying to study ice and maintain the livelihood of the birds over there. Okay, that's what they say. It's the only place in the world where all of a sudden everybody just gets along. They all got this agreement. Can't nobody come over here. After they try to blow a hole in the firmament and jump out of it, and they couldn't. So I'm going to ask you again, family, if you believe everything that these mainstream scientists have been telling you, what do you believe now? The first constellation I learned was how to look up and see the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, right? I'm almost 40 years old. And as a kid, I used to be able to identify, just pointing up and be like, okay, that's the Big Dipper, that's the Little Dipper. Okay, 40 years later, fast forward, they are still in the same exact spot. That's a problem for many reasons. When the mainstream scientists say that we are going 1.6 million miles in travel distance every 24 hours, right? We are traveling over 1.5 million miles a day. But when you look up, Everything in the constellations are exactly the same. And that's just from me tracking from 40 years ago when I was a child, right? These constellations have been the same exact constellations for thousands of years since recorded history. Now, I really want you to let that sink in, right? Think about how impossible that is for everything in the sky to look exactly the same for thousands of years when the stars supposedly have no relationship with us, right? We're just a small speck of dust, Earth dust, and the stars are doing their own thing. But every day, every year, every century, every 1,000 years, we are traveling, blasting off, right? We are spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Supposedly, we are spinning 1,000 miles an hour, and we have up to 6 different wobbles that the Earth is doing. 6 different wobbles with 6 different wobble speeds. All of that going on, and when you look up, the constellations are exactly the same. But it gets even worse than that, family. Now with the technology that we have camera modes on our phones that have star trail modes. If you are not familiar with star trail modes, these are modes you can set your camera up where you set it up on the tripod and it has to sit completely still, unbothered for like 6+ hours, right? If you move it even a little bit, you're gonna mess up the long exposure of your star trails. You're gonna ruin your star trails. So what star trails produce is perfect circles, but you have to leave it still and steady. You cannot move it. Now I went ahead and broke down the math, right? This is the distance that we supposedly travel within an 8-hour period, okay? If you have your tripod set up within 8 hours of recording the sky to get the star trails, we supposedly have already traveled over 500,000 miles just within that 8 hours, right? You don't think you will see some kind of drag or something like that on these stars? You don't think there'll be some kind of streaks going across? Because remember, if you even nudge it a little bit, it's over. You got to start all over. You only got so many hours of nighttime sky, right? But what's very interesting, and what a lot of people ain't talking about, is there are parts of this earth where you have multiple consecutive nights of night sky. So imagine the star trails on that, right? You just see the stars doing the same thing, looping over and over up to months at a time. Okay, you know what I'm saying? The Bible says that God put the luminaries in the firmament to act for times, seasons, and years, right? So they are on an annual circuit, right? Which is provable even scientifically. The Bible was right about that. And they're so reliable that they even have sundials that are still accurate, that are thousands of years old. Even according to mainstream scientists, one of the oldest sundials is the Valley of the Kings sundial in Egypt, right? Dating back to 1500 BC. One of the first openly recognized oldest sundials, right? But the Bible says that we've been keeping track even longer than that. Think about what Hezekiah requested from God, right? In 2 Kings 20, he said he wanted to see the sun go back, and that way the shadow on the stairs go back. He said it'd be too easy for the sun to go forward. In order to see the divine sign, he wanted the shadow to go back 10 steps. And that's exactly what God did for Hezekiah, to show that divine sign, right? So as you can see, we've been keeping track of time using the sun for thousands of years, even all the way into the beginning of time, right? With the Moedim, right? The appointed times, all the way back in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And this is all taking place because, like the Bible says, he put the luminaries within the firmament, okay? So when you see these little cartoon pictures of a flat earth with the stars on the outside, that's fake. Just like the water ball earth that they show with the planes landing upside down on China that you never will see a satellite zoom into. That's fake. That's cartoon. That's CGI, family. So let's get to the last fact that I want to show you, right? But before I do, for those who stay to the end of the video, I got a special little gift for you. I got a special little bonus for you, right? So if you want to see what the bonus is, stay to the end, okay? So here's another mind-blowing fact about the star trails, right? There are parts of this earth where you stand on and you could look up into the night sky, and not only, like we talked about the star trails where they're making perfect circles, either clockwise or counterclockwise, but there are parts of the night sky where you can actually look up in one direction, facing one direction, and you can see both clockwise and counterclockwise rotation at the same exact time. Now, I really want you to let that sink in for a second, right? How is this possible if you are standing on a earth that is spinning in one direction? How is it possible that you can look up, face one direction, and you can see both star trails going in clockwise and counterclockwise, family. It's impossible, family. Absolutely impossible, okay? This is mind-blowing suppressed information. So this goes to show you, just because you look up into the night sky and you see movement, that does not mean that we are the ones moving. That's ridiculous. That's like going to play pool. You playing pool, right? All the balls on the table around. That'd be ridiculous for somebody to say, well, how come the pool table itself ain't round? All the balls on top around. That'd be ridiculous to say that, right? To think that we need to look like the things that are above our head is ridiculous. The earth is made special. If you want to say the reason the things in the sky are moving is because we the actual ones that are moving, we just can't tell, you got to bring the dynamics. Okay, you got to bring the actual evidence to prove that the reason those things are moving is because we are moving, family. But as you can see, with the dual rotation, clockwise and counterclockwise, it's impossible if it's due to us just spinning in one direction. All right, family, so like I said, this is a little bonus content for those who stuck around to the end. All right, so think about it like this, right? Whenever you see the stars twinkling at night, right, what did they used to tell you? They say that we're viewing the star with the cloud passing in between us, and that's why it's flickering like that. But actually look at the star, family. What do you notice? You notice the star actually changing colors, okay? It changes color and it pulsates, right? So what cloud do you know would actually make something change a whole different color? I can see it dimming in and out, but these things are changing colors and pulsating, family. It is not what they told us that it is. These are what stars actually look like, family. But it gets even deeper than that. Take a look at this, right? What does it look like? It looks like it's underwater, family. You can actually recreate the way this looked with a cup of water. Family, this is a deep cut, right? They don't want you to know this. It's right in our face and they flaunt it around, family. All right, family, I hope y'all stuck around all the way to the end to catch this little bonus segment right here. We appreciate the love, and I got a big, gigantic project that I'm working on, and I want to be humble about it, but I've been praying, and I hope that this information I'm about to produce reaches a lot of people. That's all I can say. I'm working on something gigantic, family. Okay, so stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you are on the other channels. Get on the Rumble. I don't know how much longer YouTube want me on here. Okay, so get on here, family, and I want you to use discernment. I'm talking about the shape of the earth. If they kick me off because of that, that's your sign, family. If they kick me off YouTube for talking about the shape of the earth while they got Cardi B twerking, family. On that note, friends, family, my people, we out.